Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson, and it's always a pleasure to have people here talking with and chatting with. So it's not just me doing all the talking all the time. But Eleanor is one of my favorites. She keeps jumping back in here often, and I love having the time to chat with you. And Eleanor, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, Renee. Thank you. Thank you.
So we are going to, be exploring the divorce topic, the big divorce topic, okay, which is kind of where your expertise falls into this. But before we do, you got anything going on in your world right now?
Yeah, we last month got done with the 6-week divorcing a covert narcissist, and we're going to start that up again. We're going to fire it up again April 9th. And let me put a little asterisk on there that divorcing a covert narcissist title. That also includes anybody thinking about divorcing somebody like that. It's not just you have to be in the middle of a divorce, and you don't have to have been married to them or just leaving a long-term relationship. But that's too much to say in one title. So it kind of gets boiled down to divorcing a covert narcissist. That's all there.
You don't want a title of 30 words here.
But it covers everything. And, you don't have to have an official diagnosis for your person to covert, if they're exhibiting the behaviors, that's good enough for us.
Absolutely.
So it's a 6-week coaching and support group. We're starting April 9th. We get together for 2 hours. So we'll be at 11 a.m. That's Central Time till 1 p.m. Central Time. It's all via Zoom. We do a maximum of 8 people, so it's nice and small. Everybody kind of knows everybody in there. It's not like screen after screen after screen of little squares. In fact, the group that just ended, they still meet. I see their emails, and so they are like invested in each other and hearing about who has what going on and how did court go for you, and just checking in with each other. So it's really great to see them that way.
Yeah.
I'm a high conflict. Oh, go ahead.
That's one of the biggest advantages I have seen to the group environment is the investment into each other. And you no longer feel like you are the sole person on this planet living this way.
Yeah. They have a WhatsApp chat going too. And I keep hearing my phone like, time. I can see them active on it.
Yeah.
And can get on it every now and then, but they support each other from afar long after that the group has included.
Good. That's the whole mission of the CNG group was community, arms around each other, helping each other through this.
Mm-hmm. The 6-week course, we do a different topic each week. We do check-ins so we can all kind of have a safe place to either vent or learn more about each other. But we talk about radical acceptance. We talk about finding an attorney. What do you want to look for in an attorney, the court system of what we think it is and what it actually is, how to promote yourself as a parent in the best light to get the most time with your children because the court doesn't know you, they don't know your ex, and we sometimes need to do some different things. We talk about documentation and what's the best way because that can be a part-time job right there in itself and try to be efficient with our time. We do a little self-care in there and just communication, that I think was the biggest thing that this last group had of how do I spend 2 hours trying to write an email back to my toxic person and it just explodes. I'm like, okay, let's streamline that. Let's give you back 90 minutes of your life and try to streamline this a little bit better. So yeah, anybody out there, come join us. If you have questions, you can go to Renee's website, which is covertnarcissism.com, and that is /divorce, and that will get you the information. You can go to my website and learn more about me. That's eleanormarks.net, ELEANORMARKS.net.
Okay. And thank you so much for sharing some of that. It leads me to the question of, is there such a thing as a healthy divorce?
Yeah. When we were talking about this, about doing this podcast on that topic, I went out for a walk and I started laughing. I'm like, healthy divorce, right? That's like a fat-free brownie or something. Is there such a thing? Like, is this, and then I kind of regrouped and I'm like, okay, what is the healthiest way we can approach a divorce? When we all married, none of us did or had the goal of being divorced. And now here we find ourselves
Right.
in it. I can rattle you pretty well. Um,
Yeah,
a
divorce was
couple,
never something I saw coming in my world. I didn't want it. I still don't want it. Yeah.
right. So here you are now having to go through it. So I'm going to go back to the radical acceptance. I know if you've heard it and you're like, doesn't pertain to me, I'm going to say it again and put it in front of you, like radical acceptance, grieving what you thought you were going to have, really helps the mindset to move forward into this divorce with your energy focused in the right place. You're not still kind of like caught in the past, hoping, praying, looking for a way for it to get better. When we keep fighting something that's coming, we exhaust ourselves even more. And so if we can kind of just let it go a little bit and focus on the job at hand, um, find many a time those individuals are much more prepared and get through it with a little more skin on their back.
Mhm.
I love this line too on radical acceptance. Radical acceptance does not mean agreeing with the way it is. It means that we are not fighting reality. Practicing radical acceptance brings us into the here and now and brings us into the present moment. And so with that too, right, it helps us um, just reduces stress, reduces anxiety into an already stressful
Right.
situation.
Right.
So
Where does that quote come from?
I would love to give whoever said it the right uh, due. I don't know. I wrote it down a long time ago when I was going through my divorce, and it just kind of sticks with me. If anybody knows who said it, please let me know. 'Cause I
Put
would
it in
love
the
to
comments.
quote
Yes.
that. Yes,
Let us know so
comment.
we can give credit.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Something else into like having a healthy view of divorce, if everybody can see my air quotes, is to have a plan, even if it is the barest bone skeleton plan. Something. Plan A. How's this going to look? We talk about in the 6-week group class of like, you have had some amazing skills in your marriage to be able to pivot, juggle on one foot, because you've had to do that in your marriage. And so let's kind of harness those skills
Mhm.
and map that over into our divorce. Like, be ready to pivot for anything and everything. And you think it's going to go one way, and nope, it went the other way. And just how you can kind of pick up and keep moving forward. I had a great friend when I was going through my divorce, and I think I was just on a rant about, can you believe this? And he did that and this and that and that and that and then this. And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, yeah, I can believe all that. That's what he's always been doing your entire marriage. Tell me
That's
something that
that's
he
why you're
does.
getting a divorce.
Yeah. Tell me something that he's done that he followed through, or his actions match his words. She's like, then I will be surprised and tell you that I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So kind of having that in place, that comes with the expectations too.
I was
Um,
just thinking the same thing is when you have the radical acceptance, it allows you to expect the behavior that they've been showing you how many times? I tell people all the
mhm,
time, how many times do they have to show you how they're going to treat you before you just start expecting it? And it doesn't make it okay. Radical acceptance doesn't mean accept it and make it part of your life and that, sweep it under the rug. That's what we've already been doing. It's
yeah,
actually the opposite of now really truly accepting who they are, letting go of the hope they're going to change, letting go of the hope that if I just find the right words, now they're going to listen to me. You've tried that. You've tried that too many times at this point.
yeah. I see a lot of clients when they go into the divorce still hanging on to the words that they're soon to be ex says. I'm not going to take the house. I'm not going to do that. And who doesn't want to hang on to those hopeful ideas of the way it's going to go, and then it changes, or they do what they said they wouldn't do, or,
Mhm.
and we kind of go a million different directions. So really look at the person that you are divorcing, and make sure you are like kind of in that mind frame of like, they say it, but I've been here. It doesn't always mean that that's going to happen. And having realistic expectations for that person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the clients that I have too, right? They're very loyal. They're very like, they say something, they're going to do it. They would never go back on their word, almost to a fault. And so when it isn't reciprocated to them, it can be very jarring and rattle them, and kind of getting into that mind frame of like, not everybody operates the same way.
Yeah.
We would like
Yeah,
to.
we think that, we went into this marriage expecting that this person would be able to compromise, that they would be respectful, that they would meet us in the middle on things. At least I know I did. I went in expecting that that's what would happen, that we would learn and grow together, that, we would give each other space, and that wasn't what happened. So
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
now here we are entering divorce, and yet again, we carry those same expectations into divorce. Well, we can meet at the table and we can compromise and we can, and yet again, it doesn't happen.
No, compromise is not their middle name in any way. Anyway. And then one of the other last things that I think can like kind of tie this up with the healthiest way to look into going into a divorce is taking other people's comments and expectations with a grain of salt. Everybody's gonna throw their 2 cents on the table of, oh, did you try this? I have an amazing counselor. You should really try them, and not understanding what you've actually been through, how exhausted you are, how you have already given 110, 20, 30%,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to disappoint your friends, family who are trying to give you other options. And it can keep you in the marriage longer than it needs to, and it actually does more damage. So,
Yeah.
right, the longer that you stay in these,
It
people
gives you just one more thing to try. One more thing to try. And it's they can be well-meaning, your friends and family, they mean well and they want to be supportive, but when you have already tried, I mean, how many things? 100 different ways to talk to them or 100 different ways to reconcile, and they give you just one more thing. For me, I remember reaching the point where that just one more thing dropped me to my knees. I'm like, have you tried such and such? And no, I had not tried such and such, but good grief, I needed one more thing to try. It was overwhelming at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the idea of covert narcissism is coming a little bit more to light, that this occurs behind closed doors. A little bit more that people are seeing, like, you may not know that person like you think you know them, or their public, the public view that everybody loves them, they're the best, that they can be a little bit different, a lot different behind closed doors. And I don't know, maybe it's, again, the crowd that I'm running with, or the social media that keeps coming onto my feeds. But I see that part of it being explained a little bit more, and hopefully we're going to see more people accepting of that, and not assuming that they know this person and giving their advice,
Right.
criticism along those lines.
To the person who's already dug in, doing everything they can.
Yeah.
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 Okay. One of the
Yeah.
things that I've recently kind of thought through is, and I'm going to do a podcast episode on this soon, is we spend so much time in the marriage trying to figure out how to get around their defensiveness, their guardedness, their manipulativeness, and all of this. And we think that's our job. It's our job to accommodate. It's our job to work around that. And when I really stopped and thought about it, I went, okay, why is it my job to work so hard to get around his defensiveness? but it's not his job to learn to not be so defensive in a safe environment, in a marriage. You know, the one thing that they need to do to just put the defenses down. And yet here we are doing all of this work trying to get around that defensive position, you know.
A heavy backpack to have that job burden, I don't know what you want to call it, to make them feel better about their decisions day, name it.
Anything and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you could look back at your own divorce for a minute, if there is one thing that you wish you had known beforehand, or knowing what you know now, one thing you wish you had done differently.
I wish I would have cut the fear in half. I didn't have the best radical acceptance at the beginning. I was fighting it. I was hoping, wishing, praying for something else. And if I would have just jumped in and gone with it, and I think that would have done me a little bit more good in the end. And being an advocate for myself, I gave a lot of my I relied on my attorney a lot, hoping that they would do what I thought the job of an attorney was, get out there and fight and know everything. And then in hindsight, when I was in it a couple of months, realized that that was not what attorneys really do. They just kind of, get the paperwork done, make some suggestions, and go on to the next case. So I wish I would have maybe looked a little bit harder into the attorney I chose the first time, not been so hesitant on changing attorneys because I was loyal to the first one, very reminiscent of my marriage. And then finally switched attorneys, and that was probably the best thing I could have ever have done.
Okay. So attorneys don't look at your attorney as your advocate. Be your own advocate. Your attorney is there to help with the legal side of everything and the process, but you got to stand up and speak up for yourself.
Yeah. Their job is the legalese, unwind
the system.
2 lives that have come together, and we're going to take it apart. And
yeah. Which being your own advocate in a divorce with a covert narcissist, right now I'm even saying those words and it makes my stomach go, ah, like that's got to be just such a scary feeling. Is how can I now be the advocate? I couldn't even be the advocate in my own marriage. And now I got to be the advocate through a divorce process. So there's a mind shift that has to happen there. Whereas in the marriage, you were trying to be the advocate for helping the marriage to get better. And so you were being the advocate for both sides. You're really trying to bring both of you together to a successful relationship and communication. Whereas in the divorce, you are now advocating for one person.
Yep.
That one person is you, and maybe your kids, if there are young kids involved, absolutely. But the role of an advocacy at that point changes because you're no longer doing it to try to help the relationship to be better. You are now doing it to protect your own peace.
Mm-hmm. And you talked before about the breadcrumbs and hoovering, right? You get your radical acceptance, you start marching forward, and now the game shifts on a little bit on you. You're like, am I doing the right thing? Should I go back?
Right.
He says he's going to change. Oh boy. Yeah.
See, those are words I just didn't want to hear them anymore. I'm going to do better. I'm going to change now. And just because we had been through so many cycles of that I didn't want, it was like giving me that one more thing to work on, that one more thing to present him. Well, here's that one more thing that he's going to try to do better. And nothing ever changed it.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. Well, Eleanor, thank you for being on the show today and for sharing your expertise here when in regards to a high conflict divorce, which I'm going to say, if you've got a narcissist in your life, you are looking at a high conflict divorce. If that's, if divorce is your path. And so if you need that help, please reach out. Don't do this alone. Don't do it unprepared. I have so many people tell me, I wish I had known some of this before I got divorced. I have people that come to me for coaching. They're after divorce, 2 years out, 3 years out, and they're still stuck mentally and emotionally. I mean, one of the things they often say to me is, I wish I had known this before I ever started the divorce process. I would have handled my divorce so differently.
Yeah. I don't know how people did this years ago before internet and social media to like kind of know that this is out there, or there's people
Right.
that can help you, or like, yeah, I kind of joke that like I'm an acid guide for divorce, like, right? Just trying to like get people through it in the
Right.
best shape and form. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, all right. Well, once again, thank you for being here. I look forward to next time. As always, I will let everybody know that I've got some hiking trips coming up this year. We're going to go hiking on the Appalachian Trail, but we're going to do some day hikes where people can join us. You don't have to put a backpack on your back with a tent and a sleeping bag and sleep on the ground with us. I'm going to do that, but you don't have to. So we've got it set up where there's some day trips where everybody can join us. The first one's coming up in just a couple weeks, right at the end of March. March 31st, I think, is the date. And it's on a Saturday, and it's in Unicoi, Georgia, on that piece of the Appalachian Trail. So just a day hike, and then, a fireside chat in the evening with me and the others who get it, people who have been through it. So jump on my website at covertnarcissism.com. And then this is under the events tab. So /events, or just click on the drop down menu and head to it that way. But if you're listening to this after that event has happened, don't worry. We've got more coming down the pike. And so feel free to jump on and take a look at that on the website. So, all right, Eleanor, thank you so much. And everyone out there listening, I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast. If you are struggling with covert narcissism in your life, I help people to heal from covert narcissistic abuse. If you are struggling with the isolation, the self-doubt, and the obsessive thinking, then this is the program for you. I offer both group and individual options. This is live, personalized coaching that is specific to covert narcissism. Reach out to me anytime. You can find me at my website, covertnarcissism.com. I'm not a therapist and you are not a victim. I am a coach and you are a survivor. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson and the Covert Narcissism podcast is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes and not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. It does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.